Hi, welcome to part 2 of our Data Workspaces demo. In part 1, we created a simple workspace called Demo and ran some machine learning experiments in a Jupyter notebook. In part 2, we will publish our workspace on GitHub, then simulate a collaboration with another data scientist. To publish our workspace from part 1 on GitHub, we'll first go to the workspace website. From there, I'm on my home page and I'll click the New button to get a new repository. And give it whatever name I want. I'm going to call it DWS Demo. I can choose whether I want to make it public or private. In this case, I'll leave it public. The next step here I want to skip because we're going to get all of the content from our laptop from part 1. So now I click on Create Repository. So now I have an empty repository, and this is the URL for that repository, so I can copy that into my clipboard, and then I'm going to go back to my local machine, and I have the workspace here from part 1. So now I'm going to run the command dws publish, paste in that URL. So now it's going to set up a link between this local copy and the master up in GitHub and push all the content up to GitHub. So now if I go here back to the GitHub website and refresh, you'll see that all the content for the workspace is there. So I should mention that while we're using GitHub for this demo, the publish command works for any Git hosting service, and that includes GitLab and Bitbucket. Okay, so next what I want to do is go back to my machine and actually go to a new environment and reproduce our original environment on a new machine. So I'm going to log into a new machine. Okay, and I'm going to, first thing, I have pre-installed prerequisite software into a Python Conda environment, and so that's like Data Workspaces itself, scikit-learn, and Jupyter Notebooks. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to run the clone command. And so the clone command will basically go out to the GitHub repository using this URL and pull down all the software and initialize a new workspace. And it's going to go into this directory that I've specified demo2. And so first question it's going to ask me is, and when I create snapshots, what name do I want to use for this host? And so Kapalua is fine here. Okay, and then the other thing it's going to do is any external resources we have that have local state, it will also make sure we get those initialized for this new environment. In this case, we have the source data set is in a separate Git repo, so I can clone it and I can put it wherever I want on this machine, and Data Workspaces will track where it is on this local machine. And the default location, which is under the workspace, is perfectly fine for us. Okay, so if we go into demo 2, we can see there's our files. And I can get a history report, and there's all the snapshots we took. And even further, all the lineage data and everything is here. So for example, there's also a lineage report. So it's usually with respect to a snapshot. So I'm going to say the last good snapshot we had, which was SVC2. So what this report is showing us is that the kind of final output of this was results, and that was a step, and you can see here that the step was running the notebook at this particular time, and its inputs were the source data set, which is this resource, and that had this particular hash. So basically we have all the information we need to reproduce a past experiment. And in fact, that's what we want to do, is actually reproduce our past experiment. So let's start up a Jupyter notebook. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to take that and I want to bring that over to my browser. Okay. And so this is a Jupyter Notebook running on the remote machine. And I can go into the actual notebook. And you can see this is the state we left it in after we did the restore at the end of part 1. So we have the gamma 0.001, and this is the final result of just under 97%. So let's rerun it, see if we get the same result. Okay, great. So we got the same result. That's good news. So there we've reproduced the result. Now let's go and say we want to do further work. So I'm maybe collaborating with the original developer. And so let's try a value of gamma we haven't tried yet. We're kind of, rather than making it smaller each time, let's make it bigger. So we'll try 0.1. So we'll go here and run this experiment. Okay, well, that wasn't so good. So we got only 10% accuracy. So that's not a good result. But on the other hand, that's information. We want to remember the fact that we ran this experiment and know that it wasn't so good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a snapshot. And before doing that, I'm going to clean up my environment. So I can go back here. And so now we can run the snapshot command, and I gave it the tag svc4. So now I see all 4 snapshots there. Okay, so now I want to share that result with the original data scientist. And this works similar to Git in the sense that rather than changes you make showing up immediately everywhere, you kind of have this model of push and pull. So we're going to basically take this result, push it up to the GitHub, and then the original developer or data scientist can pull it down into their environment. That means that your environment doesn't change unless you're ready to take a change. So there's a DWS push command, and that's very much like the git push command, but it's working across all the resources, not just the main workspace. Okay, and it's skipping this read-only resource, and so now it's been pushed up. So if we go back to our original machine here, so now I'm in the original environment on my laptop, and so now I can do a DWS pull, and that'll pull down those changes. Okay, and so now if I do a DWS report history, okay, so now in the original environment we see all 4 of the snapshots we take, and we've kind of replicated our environment and shown how you can do collaboration. So that's a quick summary of the core Data Workspaces functionality. We hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions, you can reach us at info@dataworkspaces.ai. Thanks for your time, and good luck with your projects.